Hey, Coach. Condolences on meeting with us under these circumstances. Sorry to hear about everything yesterday night. With Journey now being an assistant coach or in some capacity in that role, how is that going? What exactly is his day-to-day process with Penn State? I'd assume he's still working toward educational aspirations. What does life look for him right now in this moment this season?
Well, like you said, Tyler, the most important thing is continuing the path to get his degree because without football, you got to look to something else. I know he was motivated and driven to get to the NFL, which we all felt like he was on that path to do. Now it's time to find out what's next, and I don't want to push coaching on him. I want this to be something that he want to do. But I think the most important thing is to keep him engaged, to keep him doing stuff instead of sitting home in an apartment and they have that pity party, which is easy to do. I've done it as a coach, putting myself in his shoes. So, it's trying to find the next phase of life, what it's gonna look like. Right now, he's done a tremendous job, helping young guys who was coming in here when the mindset of probably not playing and trying to get them to understand what's the now right now. So doing a great job of monitoring, mentoring them because the cool thing for him, he finally felt like what he was to Saquon and Miles. I'm the big guy in the room. I'm the big brother that these young guys want to look up to, not just the running back room, because everybody tell you in this whole program, he affected everybody, every position. That's the type of kid he is. I mean, he's just an infection person, man. You just when he comes around, your day get brighter because how type of attitude that he put out there in front of you. So that's where we at, and we'll continue to grow this thing, Tyler. I don't know where it's going to go for him, but I'm happy he's here. He's here with us, and that's what I tell him all the time. I say, man, listen, I know it sucked that it's over right now, but I'd rather have you here for the next 40, 50 years of our life, knowing that you're alive until we figure out what's next. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to be diligent in that part of it. Is helping him grow, take that next stage. Like I told him, I'm going to be right here the whole way. I always told these guys it's bigger than football.
Let's go to Rich Scarcella with the Reading Eagle.
Morning, Ja'Juan. Thanks for your time. Um, Journey has endured much in his life, as you referenced, and he's always managed to somehow remain optimistic. How will that serve him? How do you think it'll serve him going forward? And secondly, how is Noah handling his injury right now?
Yeah, with Journey, I would say football. You know, football always give us an out. It's 4 hours a day where we can put the phones down. We can forget about what's going at home. And all of us. It's like the 4 hours where we can just focus on the now of us being together, being present, going over practice plan, game plans, and not have to worry about the outside. And that's what I worry a little bit. That's why I'm trying to make him stay active because I can only speak on experience, losing a brother my rookie year in the NFL, and just having football to go to practice helped me. When my son was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma when I was at West Virginia, having a football practice to go to, being surrounded by the football family. Same with Journey when he lost his grandma and the five other people that passed in his life. He was always had football to draw him back in. So he had somebody to lean on. And so that's why it's so important to keep him around because you can draw back on your brothers, the people at the end of the day, going to have your back through the good and through the bad. And that's why I think when I said it's football, it's more than just a game, especially when you go through the ups and downs with the guys in the locker room. So I think it starts there, and I think it's in there right now until we found out what's next. And answer your question about Noah, he's positive, he's pissed because same thing I can say how hard Journey work, I can say the same thing for him. It's unfortunate what happened because I thought he was going to have that type of season too. Because I'm just seeing how hard these guys work and how committed they were. And some freak accident happened like that, set him back. And so he was down because nobody, I don't want to speak out of turn and say who loves it more, but I don't think nobody loves football as much as this kid does. I mean, this is his world. He lives and died and breathes football. So it was devastating for him. I did, trying to make a joke out of it. I said, I'm never starting you again. The 2 starts you had, you both get an ankle deal. So maybe that's the jinx. So just trying to, bring some laughter and light to it. So, he'll be fine. He'll approach everything. He's here every day in the meeting room, pushing these guys. It's amazing the leadership that the 2 guys we're talking about, how much they've grown, because you're really talking about becoming a freshman to a sophomore, even for Journey, even though he's been here a little bit longer, but from really being a guy to now being in that shoes where I can help lead. So that growth has been tremendous. It's been hard to overcome. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because in my mind, and it's just again, I always say everything's an opinion. I think they 2 NFL backs. How you lose 2 NFL backs 4 games into the season. Some people can overcome. It's just been tough, and we all dealing with it, and we will. So don't make that excuse, but that's part of life, and it ain't the NFL. We can go sign guys off the street. So we got what we got, and we'll get better with them.
Go to Donnie Collins with Scranton Times.
Hi, Ja'Juan. Just your opinion on this. How good a coach do you think Journey could be if that's the path he really wants to take ultimately?
Well, I think he got a great insight, because of, how he sees football now, how he understands the ins and outs of football, because every year we was building on something. He was learning how to be a football player early to starting to get some experience and now growing into it. Like this whole offseason, we were studying on secondary, how to see safety rotations to go along with blitz. We always talking about how blitz add up with front movement. So how he can see the game in the run game where the blitz coming from the field, where my read key change and protection. Like the game was really starting to slow down to him. Like what we saw, and I said it last year, the last 5 games of the season, I thought he was playing as good as anybody in the country. The bowl game was no fluke. Like he was just tapping into that ability he has. So, and I think he's going to continue to translate that now. Like the stuff he's doing, at the end of practice with Kazai and Kevon, showing them how to put hand placement, and learn how to finish with their pad load, which, it's easy to say it, but that comes with experience, especially for 2 kids who probably approach coming into the season with, there's no way I'm going to play unless it's a blowout or some freak incident happening with 3 guys we had in front of them. So now the approach got to be different where, they miss, like I use Kazai for example, that kid missed spring practice. He got here early, didn't get a chance to practice. So, and all the playing, not playing. So their growth was behind a little bit. And so now I'm able to pick those pieces up that I give them, and then Journey can continue to build on it after practice because when we got to be out the field, they can stay out there and do extra stuff.
Let's go to Audrey Schneider with The Athletic.
Hey, Ja'Juan, thanks for your time. You mentioned a couple minutes ago about how Journey and you guys can't have a pity party. But, I mean, given all that's happened this year, for you to try and lead this group, like, do you take a moment where you're just like, all right, how the heck do I lead? What do I do next? Because, I mean, you've never been in a spot like this at any point throughout your career.
No, it's tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You try to put on the best face that you can to move forward. I tell the guys all the time, we talked about this as a group. I said the game of football never tell you it's sorry for anything, whether injury happened or, turnover here and there, whatever happened in football don't apologize to you. So like as a coach, I can't sit down and feel sorry for myself. I lost Journey, I lost Noah because it's not fair to the young guys who are going to need that extra attention from me, and just trying to put on that strong coach face because in the day that's my job, and I'm not gonna lie, it's just been tough. It's tough. Sometimes you take it home, you try not to take it home because in the day I don't want to feel sorry for myself because of what the kids going through. So I got to be strong for them at the same time. So it's tough. I mean, you go from being probably the best running back room in the country to potential like you playing with a bunch of young guys and even Devyn who's prepared for this moment. I can assure you he probably didn't prepare to be the guy right out the gate. So his approach had to be different. I felt I saw it different in his approach going to Indiana, which he knew he was going to play because it was him and Noah, to the way he approached Ohio State. I mean, he was tremendous. Like the way he broke down film, the details he had on the board on how he broke down the fronts, they coverage, they blitz, like it was like a coach. And I thought he played that way in that game. He didn't have a lot of stats, but when he had opportunity in the game to run, I mean, he played well. So I think big picture wise, all of us, it's been tough.
Go to Tyler Donahue.
Yeah, Ja'Juan, going back to Devyn, I mean, no one could have drawn up how that Indiana game was going to turn out from his perspective, his, kind of moment to shine, and that the storyline that surfaced that week. How do you help him through that? A lot of external noise, I'd imagine. And what would you say about his performance through 3 weeks and where he can go from here as the guy on top of that depth chart right now?
Well, it was, I know it's the easiest thing to say. You got to play the next play. I blame myself. I'm not going to never put a kid underneath the bus. I mean, we was in a situation, you talk through it, you work through it out the week. It happened where something, maybe I could have went more in details on what should have happened, but it didn't. And like in life, you can't dwell on what happened yesterday. It's time to move forward. And he done a great job of that. We talking about block out the noise, block out social media, because the same people pat you on the back, the same people tear you down the next day. So you got to better, if you live on social media, you got to handle the highs and lows with it. And so I thought he did a great job of tuning that out and focus on the next week. And like I said before, he had probably one of the best weeks of practice and preparation I ever seen out of him. And continue now. Now my job is not to let him feel like he got to carry the whole weight by himself. And that's what I'm worried a little bit, but now trying to bring these so they can take a little bit of pressure off him, because I kind of feel like he feel like I got to carry the team right now. And you really don't. All I need to do is play your part and help us grow, because we still growing. We're figuring things out, new system, playing together in this type of environment. So it's all been challenging. I think he responded well because he's a really intelligent kid, and he cares. He really cares.
Greg Pickle, Penn Live.
Coach, a little bit of a different topic, but it sounds like the recruiting dead period will be extended until April. I'm just curious how you feel like you guys have done dealing with that and how you can continue to do that moving forward, both in this cycle and the next cycle.
Well, it's tough. I mean, it's tough. It makes you be creative. It makes the whole recruiting department come out with different ideas, because you can't use it as an excuse because everybody's doing it. So you have to be creative in what you're doing, not get stale, not get bored. And it sucks because I'm an in-person guy. Like, I like to see guys practice. If I put my name on a kid, I seen him. I want to see the adversity that kid go through practicing the game, how he responds, because highlight tapes are highlight. You can see a lot of great highlight tapes and kid make plays, but I want to see when the game's tough or the practice tough. Do he rise to occasion or he takes a back seat? Because if a kid take a back seat, it's going to happen on the big stage when we got to play Ohio State. We got to play Michigan in front of 100,000 where it's home away. So to me, I'm a big believer on you got to get in front of these kids and see them. You got to get in the school. You got to know the people that know the kid and get information from the guidance counselor, from the teachers, from the whoever, right, the decision maker. So that's been tough. That's been challenging, because especially for guys who, like us, you don't want to miss in a class because you only get so many numbers, especially this year with a small class. I think we got 8 seniors, and I'm top of my head. I know I got a lot of stuff going on, but you're gonna have a lot of numbers, so your margin of error is small. So we got to be diligent in our research and watch as much as film, as much as these kids working out, as much as stuff they can show us. So just continue to push the envelope and be creative. We're doing a lot of Zooms, as much Zooms as we can with these kids and their parents, try to get to know them, let them get to know us. And then our recruiting staff done a great job with some of the virtual tours, kind of show our facilities, show Penn State what we can offer. And you know what, and face it head on, just like we're about to face this season. We got to pick ourselves up and the card that we have dealt to us, we got to play the hand that we have and make the best of it. And we will, because we haven't lost our drive. We haven't forgot how to recruit. We haven't forgot how to coach. So we'll fix this thing.
Got time for a few more questions. Mark Brennan, Fight On State.
Ja'Juan, you touched on it a little bit, but how have your freshmen handled everything that's kind of been thrown at them? And what is the biggest adjustment for kids like that going from high school to now this level?
I think for most of them, the physicality of the game, you can't, like, you got to be consistent, and it start with practice, getting them to take a rep and make it game-like, because that's the area where you got to see the improvement. It start with practice, like how I finish a run. Like, if when the whistle's stop, you don't stop playing. You continue to play. That's your +2 on contact when you got to get a 3rd and 1. When I'm in the goal line situation, I'm always gonna be outnumbered in the goal line. I got to win that 1-on-1. Like, I can't tiptoe around. We kind of talked about that because I was in a situation a week ago, right? You got to go finish that run. So I think a lot of people don't understand, like, it's more than just handing the football off. You have to teach these kids situational football they never heard about, like a 2-minute, a 4-minute, like a red zone, a low red zone, like how your mindset got to change. Picking up a block, like, I can't tiptoe. I got to go meet that guy at the point of contact. And I got to be the low man going to win. We always talking about hairline below his chin, low man win. You know what I mean? Just the football term got to become where it's second nature to it. It's like shooting a free throw. You shoot it over and over and over and over again. It becomes muscle memory for a free throw shooter, right? Same with playing this game of football. Because right now, you're not the best player on the field. So your details got to continue to take over. Whereas little things like footwork, this year has been more about details for the young guys than ever. Like, I'm even talking about going back to taking a handoff. Like, for the first time, I really had to coach that, So each kid is different. Some kids come from a program where they've been well coached. Some kids come from a program where they've been the best players. And you come from schools where you may have 2 or 3 coaches trying to coach everything. So continue to coach the details, continue to see the big picture. And, they super smart. They pick things up. But again, it's like I was telling Kazai the other day, it's a difference between knowing to play and knowing how to execute a play. And that's where the growth got to continue to happen for the young guys.
Let's go to New Bias Wilborn, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Coach, and that first possession you guys had in the third quarter, there was a couple really bruising runs by Devyn, particularly one where he got knocked on the sideline. When he gets up, kind of goes back and forth with the other guys. Like, what does that just say about him, his intensity? It seemed like he kind of got into it a little bit, and then it kind of faded away after that.
Well, I wouldn't say it faded away. A lot to do with Maryland. They played well. I mean, the kid didn't change. I would say this, a lot of that's on us as play calling. We kind of got behind and we kind of changed our mindset. We tried to strike to get back in it too fast and probably abandon the run game. So I don't want, it's not on the kid, it's on us as coaches. We probably, you know what I mean? Some game changes, you down, you trying to take some shots here and there. They was playing a lot of one high man coverage. We felt like, Jahan, Parker, Pat, we can win on some of those one-on-ones, got a chance to get some big plays, get us back in the game faster. So I would say his coaching had nothing to do with the way that kid played. I mean, he played for 60 minutes, hard as he can give us.
Last question, Gabe Angieri. Go ahead, Gabe.
Hey, Coach, thank you for your time. So how would you kind of evaluate the play of your running backs for the first 3 weeks, and what can you guys do to kind of develop a more consistent running game going forward? Does it kind of have to do with game script, or is there something you guys can do to more develop a running game?
We got to play well. We got to play well. We got to coach well. It's all encompassed. The change in the scheme's been different. Not making excuse, but everybody had the same issue. We got a new OC, but it had those reps together all spring to go through that toughness, the summer workouts. So we're grinding through it. There's no excuse. I always tell a running back this, and I believe it's my philosophy of coaching. The O-line job is to cover guys up. Our job is to make a play. If that means breaking a tackle or getting the guy in open space and winning, we got to do a better job at that. I'm never going to put the O-line in the bus, and I'm never going to make an excuse for what we do in this room. We got to play better. We got to coach better, though. And O-line will tell you, too, we all got to do our job. It's never just one person. This is not basketball. It's not golf where one person can take over the game. It takes all 11 to play well, because if one guy missing the assignment, it affects the whole play, whether it's a run, a pass, whatever it may be. So we just got to play with confidence, man. We got to go. And I think this is huge. We got to go have fun. It's like through this whole process, man, we forgot how to have fun. When you have fun, it breeds confidence. And I'm guilty of that too. I mean, I've been coaching, but I lost that part of it. And I'm probably pressing more because of the dynamics of the room change. I got to get back to doing it. I told Coach this, I told Tuesday, well, the first time I coached like I was coaching previous. You know, I felt like I can take the training wheels off the kids and I can coach them, I can push them. But sometimes not just coaching my room, but to help Phil with the O-line, to help Taylor with the receivers, and help Kurt with, you know, with some of the stuff he may be seeing. So the first time I can take the blinders off and I can be free a little bit because I'm so consumed with trying to coach every detail with young guys, just trying to make them right because everything changed every week, every day with every look. So again, just continue to build on that because if we get back to having fun, man, like we got good players. We still know how to freaking coach. We just got to do it. And it's time for us to hit the switch and do it together, all in, you know, players, coaches, all of us, man. Get back to having fun, man. And the rest of it take care of itself.